cool things in call center software. I won't get into it, but there's a piece in the middle that sort of now allows us to have that interface of reporting and analytics and stuff.
Like purely lead gen agencies, like you're easy to replace if that's like, because there's so much competition in that space. I want to ask you just because we're a little bit short, we're running close on time here. Let's talk a little bit about like how somebody can get this in their agency, because you have some overflow and you're now starting to allow people to use your call centers to be able to call people for them, get booked appointments in for clients, and then ultimately, like you said, lower their front desk cost and have people like actually see your lead generation is working, because the leads turn into real people who walk into the office or walk into their place of business, and they see it actually translating to what actually matters to them.
Yeah, a couple of things, and so I'll take this as sort of like it. You have to think about what's happening here, which is that in order to do this, we have to trigger up. Because most people who come to us obviously are agencies that have go high level, so they have to use their existing go high level, but we trigger everything up to basically be duplicated into our go high level, right? So we have to use a central system. We can't use their system, but then once it gets into our system, it all gets processed. So it's duplicated and then goes into our GHL, and then we've got software that sits in the middle that now has all the bells and whistles of a call center that needs to be implemented so that we can see, all the variances that happen in a call center. I mean, there's so many cool things in call center software. I won't get into it, but there's a piece in the middle that sort of now allows us to have that interface of reporting and analytics and stuff like that. But then at that point, it's still humans, right? So now our team is booking into other people's typically their calendars, and a lot of them have typical point of sale systems that that are general out there that we're booking into, or we'll book it into GHL if they want to use GHL or whatever they want. But I think that on a per lead basis, if you just kind of look at it and eyeball it, it's pretty simple. I mean, we basically charge $15 a lead to chase every lead down that they have, and that's been working pretty well. And we've had some of our white label partners just take that and build that into a program for their customers and upgrade their pricing and do it as what we do, which is a per lead basis. Or sometimes we come up with hybrid programs that are based off of what type of lead volume they have. But in general, we're basically solving a lot of the problems that I don't think that other agencies would want to get into, which is that we stripped a call center manager from a call center company and basically bought out like that person and put them in place so that we would have someone who's been experienced, and then built US based team members around that then manage a bunch of really ninja level folks that are right short that we can get the cost down where it's not prohibitive. And I think on the US based side, there's some prohibitive costs that if you're trying to run with a call center in a white label fashion, it's challenging. So I think we've thought about that and tried to make it as palatable as possible. But if they want to contact me, certainly I'm sure you'll leave some links here and people can find me online. I'm not that difficult to find, and certainly email me or whatever. But in starting this up, I mean, it's not very difficult because we launch probably 1 or 2 new clients a week. So getting people onboarded isn't very difficult. It's more about just trying to make sure that people understand that you have to look at the duplicity that will happen, because obviously when you're running your own agency and you come to us, we can't run out of your agency. You're going to have to, we basically create the zaps and the tissue between the two systems, and it just runs in parallel. So I think that answered your question.
Yeah, I mean that to me sounds stupid simple, especially like I said, for those of you guys who are in like high ticket kind of servicey niches where speed and having somebody, and you guys also follow up, by the way. I think we talked about that off air, but I don't know if you said that, but it's not just like hey, we call them one time, but like one of the things I've seen with like top legal companies, like sometimes you need to follow up with people, and the rule we usually use is as many as 6 times. I think you guys use 6 as well.
Yeah, that's the general consensus. Yeah.
Because often what happens is somebody sees it, they don't recognize the number, then you leave a voicemail the second time or the third time to make, oh, that's right, that was that form I filled out and I wanted those guys to call me about blah, blah, blah. So you kind of track people down, and where it'll show up for you guys is adding in this solution is suddenly it'll go from they're all bad leads in that conversation we've had to like real retention where they're paying you month after month happily. And because they're seeing people physically booked into the office and no longer is the front desk breaking all these all important sales, like they just stay and pay. And there's a real magic to having clients stay and pay. And you're irreplaceable because they can't close those sales on their own. So,
right. What I was going to say, just to make sure, it could be bad leads, but wouldn't you want to know about it first? And that's the thing that's really important here, is that every week we have call center review every single account. And if there's bad leads and there's bad quality stuff, we take care of it before the customer tells us. We tell them, you know what, we had to change your lead structure, your zip codes, your whatever, your audience basis, whatever it might be. That's the real thing, because now you can go back to a customer and say, okay, well, look, we only closed 13 out of 63 leads last month. We're going to have to change the pivot. So that's when like you could be basically telling the customer, hey, I did some diagnostics and we need to do a better ad, a different offer, a different setting. Because that's the thing I was trying to impress upon people, is that we're finding out trouble before it hits us. And that's the thing no one even thinks about when they enter the call center world, is that the feedback is so much quicker. And there isn't the, where did that customer go? Why aren't they responding to my phone calls? Why is the Stripe payment ended? Because they just gave up, because they literally never got the chance to even tell you. And so now you know it in front of your face.
Yeah, that's huge. And that's the secret, by the way, to cracking most marketing campaigns, is having real life feedback and seeing where you're actually at. And it's a really underrated thing. And getting offers to work is having feedback and seeing either like where the leads are missing the mark and all those things, but you can adjust when you have feedback. And a lot of times you can be like 90% of the way to the sale and missing 10% of why it's not converting, and be getting ghosted on it and not know how to fill that 10%. And, a little bit of feedback from your call center can close that. Hey guys, if you like this video, you'll probably also like our free Facebook group, Beyond Agency Profits, Agency Lifestyle Design. You can get free copies of the book inside here. I look ridiculous. We're doing weekly Q&As, giving answers to all your questions. Some of the best, smartest, brightest people. We've got lots of industry leaders doing 7, 8 figures and beyond. It's a literal who's who of the brightest agency owners that I know, as well as lots of tips on scaling and stuff, books that work. So if you're not already part of it, you're going to want to be part of it. So make sure to click the link. I put it in the description of the video, as well as in the pinned top comment below. So just scroll down and you can join, and it's totally free.